Fortnite Competitive has had a long standing in the world of esports. Despite that, the wider audience often forgets the earliest stages of its competitive journey. Due to the nature of Fortnite and the audience it attracts, many of the game's competitive players now were likely not even around when the earliest tournaments were happening. So what were these tournaments like? Who were the winners of these tournaments? Where are these winners now? This video will seek to shed some light on the mostly forgotten individuals who won big tournaments in 2018. Like and subscribe if you want to see similar content in the future, and now to the video. Despite being one of the later tournaments on this list, the winners of the 2018 Winter Royale are somewhat forgotten. So who are they? Well, on EU, the 2018 Winter Royale was won by a French player named Skite. This is a name that likely many of you recognize for his later accomplishments, but almost everyone seems to forget the 2018 Winter Royale. Skite got his start in the early days of 2018 competitive. Because he was French, he had a leg up on the earliest pros since popular French content creators were the only people in the entire game with access to custom codes. In the 2018 Winter Royale, Skite would compete alongside other legendary EU names such as Mitro, Issa, and Kinstar, ultimately coming out on top with a stellar performance. Skite would later go on and have a long and prosperous career in Fortnite as one of the best EU players, even placing 7th and 10th in the Solo and Duo World Cup respectively, making him the second most consistent double qualified player behind Epic Whale. Skite would retire from Fortnite Competitive in January of 2022, but he still plays the game for fun even to this day. It's hard to say why this tournament goes forgotten as it was very competitive, unlike over on NA. The 2018 Winter Royale on NA will forever go down in history as one of the worst tournaments of all time. You see, the NA tournament was hosted about 2 weeks after the EU Winter Royale. This meant that the NA tournament coincided with the brand new release of Fortnite Season 7, and with Epic Games being Epic Games, allowed all changes made to go through, which ended up adding the Infinity Blade one day before the finals. It was safe to say the entire tournament was a joke, but it still had a winner, so who was it? The 2018 NA Winter Royale was won by a player named Nolan. Nolan was a mid-tier competitive player on NA going into this tournament, so nobody really expected him to win. However, with the disaster that was the addition of the Infinity Blade, anything could happen in this tournament. Overall, his win was still relatively fair as Nolan didn't really get to abuse the blade much. He just played a really good set of matches when it mattered the most. As for his future, Nolan would not do much else, placing 7th in the Lux Cup, then failing to qualify for the World Cup and Season X FNCS, which would be the end of his Fortnite journey. Nolan has since gone silent on all socials and nobody knows where he is at now, but I hope he is doing well. Next up is the earliest official tournament in Fortnite history, which was the Solo Showdown. For those unaware, the Solo Showdown was a tournament hosted in May of 2018. The tournament was played in an LTM that worked just like regular solo pubs, but your performance was tracked. You were given 50 matches to play over the span of about 5 days, and whoever racked up the most points in the tournament would win a grand prize of 50,000 V-Bucks. High-placing players would also have the potential to be invited to future Epic-hosted tournaments, so who won? The winner of the Solo Showdown was a New Zealand Xbox player named Ruthless. Looking at his gameplay, he just seemed like any above-average console sweat, so there is nothing too notable about this tournament win. Funnily enough, most of the high-placing players in this tournament were on console, due to console having easier lobbies. Epic probably didn't think that one through. Ruthless would go on to have an unremarkable career, managing to qualify for the Season X FNCS on OCE, only to place near dead last. He played all the way up until 2020, where it seems he quit Fortnite to hop on the Valorant bandwagon. However, not long after, he quit uploading to all of his socials and hasn't been active for the past 4 years. So while nobody knows where he is at, I hope he is doing well for himself. On the topic of early Fortnite competitive, there is the Summer Skirmish. The first week of the Fortnite Summer Skirmish was back in July of 2018, and it was a disaster to say the least. The tournament was extremely laggy as this was before anyone knew just how chaotic a full game of pros with money on the line could be. There was supposed to be 10 games played, however, only 4 ended up being played before Epic Games called the tournament off. Despite that, there were still winners, so who were they? The first week of the Summer Skirmish is won by Kevy and Vivid. Vivid is a name most people are familiar with today. After this tournament, Vivid would go on to be one of the most consistent players in 2018 Fortnite Competitive. He would carry this momentum over into 2019 by qualifying for the Solo World Cup and the first 3 FNCS tournaments. He would place well in trio and squad FNCS, getting 2nd and 6th respectively. Unfortunately, his performances would drop off from here and he would quit in December of 2020. On the bright side though, Vivid would join the official Fortnite broadcast as an analyst, a position he still holds to this day, and it seems like he really enjoys it, so good for him. As for Kevy, his story isn't so great. After winning, some serious old allegations would begin to resurface. According to those who accuse him, Kevy supposedly blackmailed underage children in order to solicit explicit photos from them. While these were serious allegations, they were never 100% proven. Despite that, the weight these allegations held was immense, and it would ultimately cause Kevy to go silent on all socials and remain on the low for the rest of his time playing Fortnite. He would continue to play tournaments into 2019, getting some decent placements. However, it seems he ultimately quit sometime around late 2019, as that was the last time he played any tournament. Nobody really knows where he is now, but hopefully all is well for him. The summer skirmish lasted for 8 weeks, with the final week being a solo LAN hosted at PAX West 2018 in San Diego. This LAN event was the most competitive tournament ever hosted up until that point, so who won? The player who won this LAN was Muskie. Muskie won this LAN in a dominant fashion, getting 3 more points than second. For context, Fortnite tournaments gave a lot less points back then, with wins only giving 3 points total and elimination points not starting until you got at least 3 eliminations. Muskie would continue to play the game after this point, placing here and there in tournaments. He would unfortunately miss out on World Cup qualification by 5 spots. This only got worse for him as he would miss out on both trio and squad FNCS Grand Finals. With his placements in constant decline and his love for the game wavering, he would quit in April of 2020 to pursue Valorant. Unlike most Fortnite pros though, he would actually stick with Valorant and grind it out. These days, Muskie is currently playing at the collegiate level for Cumberland University esports, so while he may not be the Fortnite legend he once was, he is no doubt enjoying his life, and I wish him nothing but the best on his Valorant journey going forward. Next on the list of nostalgic Fortnite tournaments is Friday Fortnite. Friday Fortnite was a weekly tournament series that ran for a brief stint in both 2018 and 2019. The tournaments were played in squad pubs, where teams of 2 players would race to see who could rack up more eliminations over the span of 2 matches. The first ever week of Friday Fortnite was won by Cypher PK and Nick Merckx. Both of these players would go on to become some of the biggest figures in gaming. Nick Merckx was already very well known prior to this win, as he was one of the best Gears of War and Call of Duty players around, so his transition to Fortnite was seamless. Nick would dabble into competitive a bit, placing well in some summer skirmish weeks and even getting a respectable 9th at the TwitchCon LAN. However, content creation was a much more profitable venture for Nick, and he would ultimately pursue streaming to build on the social media empire he already had. These days, he easily averages 5 to 10,000 viewers per stream, and he just seems to be living the good life with his family. As for Cypher, his career path was similar, but what differentiates Cypher from Nick is that he didn't have much of an audience before Fortnite as Nick did. Cypher would briefly dabble into competitive, not seeing much success because he was much more focused on content. Cypher was one of the only streamers who stuck with Fortnite even at its lowest points, and this has paid off as he is now the face of modern day Fortnite. Finally is WSOE 3, one of the most forgotten tournaments in Fortnite history. WSOE was a Duo LAN that took place on December 30th, 2018 in California. The winners are 2 names that many recognize even today, Cease and Elevate. After this win, the duo would go on to have many more stellar performances in the years to come. They would place 3rd at the Duo World Cup, being the highest placing NA duo at the tournament. They would place 2nd in Trio FNCS Grand Finals too, but would unfortunately split in late 2019. Elevate would quit the game in August of 2020 to pursue Valorant. Cease, however, still plays to this day. Cease would get a couple notable Grand Finals performances throughout the years, and even still qualifies to Grand Finals tournaments to this day. This makes Cease pretty much the only 2018 competitive player to still be playing to this day, which is pretty impressive. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see similar content, then like, subscribe, follow my socials, and check out the video on your screen now.